Hello, I'm Robert. Welcome to my channel. Let's look at this problem. P plus Q equals 7. P squared plus Q squared equals 25. What are the values of P and Q? What comes to mind is substitution. So we know P plus Q equals 7. Subtract Q from each side, we find P equals 7 minus Q. We use this expression to replace P in the second equation. P squared plus Q squared equals 25. The square of the difference of 7 and Q plus Q squared equals 25. Step by step, we derive 7 squared minus 14 times Q plus Q squared plus another Q squared equals 25. 2 times Q squared minus 14 times Q plus 49 equals 25. Subtract 25 from each side. 2 times Q squared minus 14 times Q plus 49 minus 25 equals 0. 2 times Q squared minus 14 times Q plus 24 equals 0. Simplify, we find Q squared minus 7 times Q plus 12 equals 0. Factor the left side of the equation, we find the difference of Q and 3 times the difference of Q and 4 equals 0. Thus, Q equals 3 or Q equals 4. Since P plus Q equals 7, the solutions are these. Q equals 3, P equals 4. Q equals 4, P equals 3. This is our first method. Looks like it involves a little too much derivation and computing. Now let's work out another method. We need to resort to Vieta's formulas. Let's look at the problem again. P plus Q equals 7. P squared plus Q squared equals 25. The first equation, P plus Q equals 7. Square both sides of the equation. The square of the sum of P and Q equals 49. We subtract the second equation, P squared plus Q squared equals 25. From this equation, we derive these. The square of the sum of P and Q minus the sum of P squared and Q squared equals 49 minus 25. The square of the sum of P and Q minus the sum of P squared and Q squared equals 24. P squared plus Q squared plus 2 times P times Q minus the sum of P squared and Q squared equals 24. p squared plus q squared plus 2 times p times q minus p squared minus q squared equals 24. Thus we find 2 times p times q equals 24. P times q equals 12. Now we have p plus q equals 7. P times q equals 12. So remember Vieta's formulas? For our purpose, to put it simply, in the case of a quadratic equation like this, x squared plus b times x plus c equals 0. Let p and q be the roots. According to Vieta's formulas, p plus q equals negative b. P times q equals c. We can write an equation, x squared minus the sum of p and q times x plus p times q equals 0. Replace p plus q and p times q with their respective value. We find x squared minus 7 times x plus 12 equals 0. Factor the left side of the equation. We derive the difference of x and 3 times the difference of x and 4 equals 0. The solutions are these: x equals 3 or x equals 4. Since p and q are the solutions of the quadratic equation just written, we find p equals 3 or q equals 4. P equals 4, q equals 3. These are the two methods we find to solve this problem. What other methods can you think of? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.